Hi everyone, Happy New Year. Today I'm going to show you how I made a replica of this stuffed lobster. So I started out, baked a cake, iced it, have 2 layers ready to go. Doesn't look really pretty right now, but it doesn't matter because you need to start carving it out. I basically call this a cake demo. To make this process a little easier, it helps to pop it in the freezer for about 5 to 10 minutes and it'll firm up the frosting. But I know some YouTuber cake makers just show a beautifully easy way to do it, but mine's always seems to be a mess. So anyway, just carve it until you get the shape that you want, and this one is pretty much a oblong cylinder shape, fairly easy to do. So just keep at it until you have your desired shape that you need. The next step is to add icing and create a crumb coat. This will seal in all the crumbs, but also seal in your cake too, so it doesn't get hard or dried out. So do a nice healthy layer all over, lock in those crumbs so they don't cause issues later on when you apply your fondant. Make sure you get right down to the bottom of the cake where it meets the board, and make sure that there's a good amount there to create a moisture barrier, essentially, to keep your cake moist and prevent it from really drying out. That extra step really helps a lot. Once your cake is covered in the frosting, go ahead and take some time to get it smoothed out and make sure there are no large clumps, as those will cause issue with the fondant and cause it to be bumpy. So smooth it out as best you can, and this is the time where if you had some mistakes while you were carving, like made a couple of holes you didn't necessarily want, you can add some extra frosting in there and create the shape that you really wanted. Basically a good fine-tuning. So next we're going to roll out the fondant and apply it to the cake. I have a couple of tools that I use that I absolutely love. I'll link them in the description box below. This one's pretty great because you can choose the desired width of whatever you're rolling out, whether that be pie crust, cookie dough, or fondant. I love it and I use it all the time. So next, start kneading your fondant just to get it up to room temperature. Your hands really warm it up and make it more pliable. And what's great with these tools is I don't have to add any cornstarch or powdered sugar. It doesn't stick. You just kind of roll out and keep picking it up and rotating. Once you have it rolled out to the appropriate width and height that you need, I just take it and gently fold it over top of my rolling pin and place it on top of the cake. And from here, you got to start working immediately. You've got to keep smoothing down the top first and into the sides. If you let it go too long, the fondant will start to dry out and you'll get what they call elephant skin, and it'll get kind of wrinkly on the surface and not have that nice smooth finish. So start working out, pull the outsides as it kind of like curtains down a little bit and wrinkles, and you pull out and just kind of gently sort of stretch the fondant down around to the bottom, and then just start using finger action like I'm doing right now to kind of seal it into the bottom of the board. So once you get the cake covered, you're going to need to trim off the excess. I use a little pizza cutter. It works the best. It doesn't pull at the fondant like a knife does usually when you cut it. It has to be an extremely sharp knife. This just works best for me. So next I had to put on the stitch marks that were on the stuffed animal. And I'm using this great little stitch tool. You just run it along the fondant and it looks like little stitches. I'll put a link below in the description box. It's a great tool to have in your collection. So next I'm going to start with the details, the antenna, the claws, and the little legs. And I have to say, it is so great to have your actual 3D model in front of you to size details and make sure they're the right height, width. It's really great. It's much better than working off of a 2D piece of paper that you printed off the internet. Highly recommend. This was a great project. So here I'm making the fondant nose, and that little chunk of fondant is actually quite heavy, and it's not going to stick with a little bit of water onto the front of this lobster. So I just inserted a toothpick a little bit into the nose and a lot into the cake, just to keep it secure. Works perfectly. So I didn't have any block fondant on hand, so I just took my red fondant and cut out the appropriate shape for the eyes and painted them black with food coloring. So after finishing all the details on the lobster, I kind of just wanted to finish it off a little bit. So I took some graham crackers and whizzed them up in the food processor so it looked a little bit like sand, and just gently kind of let me know in the comments below if there's any projects you'd like to see in the future. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was kind of a fun project to do. If you'd like to see more of my work, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for alerts for my future videos. Take care.